Be dead. Well, we'll all outlive the planet, so who cares about the kids and the grandkids? I mean, really?
Yeah,
I'm serious. I think that's the fucking attitude. Like, well, it's still going to be here by the time I die, so I don't care. It's kind of like what you were saying before. Unless it directly impacts you, then people don't really kind of care.
right. Yeah, and that's true. And that's one of those things we kind of need to work on as a country and as a race. You know, that whole human race thing. Yeah, we kind of need to, work on that. But some of the other things that are problems, they had to evacuate in California, 180,000 people or something like that, because the dam was giving way, or the spillway was giving way.
And they've known about it for years, but they didn't do anything about it.
And well, you can't do anything about it if you don't have the funding for it. Okay. So the meme that I saw the other day was, instead of spending $4 billion or whatever it is on the wall between us and Mexico, how about we fix our infrastructure with that money? Repair bridges, dams, roads, stuff like that we use as a.
We can do that?
Well, we can, if they would let us, or if we had if they would allocate the funding to do it. But they don't want to do that. They want to build a $4 billion wall that's not going to do shit. Here in Arizona, was it this week, or it was either this week or the last week, attached to the wall down in southern Arizona
catapult?
was a catapult that was launching bundles of marijuana over the wall.
So they could probably launch people over there if they really wanted to, like a little tiny small person.
They don't need to launch people if they can launch product. You launch product over the wall, somebody on the side picks it up and takes it out.
Well, you could just launch the dealer with the drugs all in one and done.
I mean, it was just
No
like,
matchup.
really? How did they attach I actually saw the pictures of the catapult, and I was like, wow, that's kind of ingenious that you could do that. And they were launching 40-pound bags of marijuana across the wall into the United States. Yeah, that wall's going to do a whole lot of good. And what's that other one where they had a 4-mile-long tunnel between Nogales and the United States, and it actually had rail cars in it with train tracks and everything. It's like, yeah, because that wall's going to make a difference. Or even private planes. You can take a Cessna across really quick and easy and just drop shit off on the way across.
There's this thing called water. I mean, there's probably plenty
Well,
of...
there's not much water between here and Mexico.
Well, but I'm just
not
saying,
this state.
But I'm just saying there are ways. So I mean,
Yeah.
even if you have a wall, I'm not just specifically saying us in Mexico, but just in general, it's like, okay, so you build a wall. Well, let's see. There's air. There's
go around, drill under, go over. I mean, yeah. People do actually have the technology to pole vault over these walls, one way or another. Somebody may come down and break their leg on the other side as they do it, but common sense needs to actually start being a part. Yeah, I know. Common sense really needs to start being a part of our government.
Well, I saw a meme saying that we need to try to keep people out of, or that people, it had to be satirical, but it was basically something along the lines of, it's not just our Mexican border we need to secure, it's our Canadian border. And I'm like, who the fuck in their right mind from Canada is going to come over to us? We're like a third world country compared to them. So, like, why would people over there want to come here? I'm like, are people really, are they just trying to be funny? Are they stupid? I mean, there's no inflection.
Okay, from the chat room, legalize recreational. They won't eliminate the illegal trade completely, but it will reduce it significantly. As for harder drugs, we need to work to eliminate the demand our nation has. And you know what the best way to eliminate that demand is? Is stop letting pharmaceuticals shove opiates down everybody's fucking throats. We are druggies.
I think I've got a better option to become an licensed street vendor.
You're going to be a street vendor? Are you going to have like a hot dog cart or what?
No. I said I think I got a better option of becoming an unlicensed pharmaceutical street vendor.
Yeah, you could have like a red box machine full of different drugs, and people could just program in what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that's what we need to do. We have pharmaceutical companies that are giving billions of dollars a year to politicians to get them to buy into this shit, and then they're forcing opiates down the throat of anybody that's in pain. and then prosecuting them for being for being addicts on opiates. It's like, really? So you give them the drugs, you get them hooked, and then you throw them in prison.
Isn't that like entrapment?
So
wait a minute.
that's so that they can provide to the private prisons.
Well, if we get rid of private prisons and all that kind of shit, seriously, I hate to say this, but I know there's other people that
She doesn't hate to say this. She's going to say it anyway.
All right, fuck it. There's people that are going to agree with me on this. I actually have an anarchist friend that will agree with me on this because he's been working on this campaign very diligently. Don't make any drugs legal. Just legalize everything. That way there's no penalty.
Don't make them illegal.
Or don't make them illegal. Don't make them what is that stupid thing marijuana is? It's a different...
It's a class A narcotic or something like that.
Class 1.
A schedule.
Class 1.
It's a Schedule 1.
Class 1.
Get rid of all this bullshit. Just basically legalize everything. The only reason that certain things are legal is because they have a Bayer, Pfizer, or some sort of
it has
a
a company name on it.
The doctor's basically a fucking drug pusher. So, I mean, just legalize everything. Leave it up to people's discretion. If they get hooked and addicted, let that be their problem.
Well, no. What we really need to do, when people get addicted to opiates, which is being shoved down their throat by their doctor and their pharmaceutical
if you
companies,
have these symptoms,
that needs to be treated as a medical problem as opposed to a criminal problem. Okay,
well, there is that.
We should not be sending people to prison because they were given opiates by their doctor and they became hooked on it. They need to be treated. They need to be brought off of that medication. But that takes away money from the private prison industry.
That's how we're going to run things. Yeah, the doctor should be going to prison.
Well, they need to analyze the drugs because maybe they're specifically engineered to fucking hook people.
They're opiates. Opiates are addictive. There's just nothing about it. It's not that they're being, adjusted to make them more.
True.
It's just that's
but
the way it is.
Even like cigarettes. I mean, anything. There's probably stuff that they could put in them that basically makes you want more.
Right.
I mean, yeah, opiates. I mean that.
So what are they putting in steak for me to want more steak?
I have no fucking idea, man. Some sort of steroid, maybe. I don't know.
But I mean, just in general, I mean, the whole system is kind of a scam, really, because you hurt yourself, right? So you have a back injury, then your doctor prescribes you oxycodone, okay, and you keep taking it until there comes a point where all of a sudden you can't live without it because you're addicted to it. It's like a morphine addiction. It's pretty much the same thing, okay? Then you are now trying to find your fix because the doctor won't prescribe it anymore. So you go out onto the streets and you get opiates from a street vendor. And then you get busted for having illegal narcotics without a prescription, which then puts you into the criminal justice system, either as a dealer, depending on how much you're caught with, or a user, which then puts you into the prison system, which there's a buttload of money going into the private prison system, especially here in Arizona. And it takes you off the streets, it puts you in prison, and creates another criminal. So where you were just basically having a medical issue of dependency, you're now a criminal. And if you can get out of prison, you hit the streets, you can't get a job because you're a felon. So you're either living on the street or you start leading a life of crime and you end up staying in the prison system.
So you're basically set up to fail.
Yeah, but because somebody is profiting on it. Somebody is making profits on all that crap.
Sick-ass puppeteers.
And that's the thing, is we really need to start focusing on the idea of follow the money. Follow where the money is going. Who is making bank off of charter schools in Arizona? And I can name one senator that made $150,000 last year. Yarborough. But, and that was all in the news and everything. And he didn't deny that shit because, of course not. He planned it. He built it. He's making buttloads of money. His STOs are paying him rent for the building he owns and runs the STO administration out of. Yeah. That's not.
Oh, but does he recuse himself whenever it comes time for a vote? Fuck no.
He sponsors those bills.
God, what an ass.
So we really have turned into a country of who can use who for what kind of profit. It's pretty sad. So, but anyway, we're going to go to our commercial break. Well, it's not commercials because we don't get paid for them. These are just PSAs that we play. It'll take about 5 minutes to get through the first two. And when we come back, we will hopefully kind of focus on we can do our Tech Talk next. Are you ready for Tech Talk?
I am.
Okay, so when we come back in about 5, we will do our Tech Talk.
Yay.
And talk about interesting technical advances that could make your life better. So stay tuned, don't go away, and we'll
Hello, my name is Michelle Short. Stu DeHaan and myself are co-chapter heads of the Arizona chapter to the Satanic Temple. Our chapter was given birth in February of 2016 in the aftermath of our first and biggest challenge. We requested to perform our invocation in front of the Phoenix City Council on behalf of the Satanic Temple. As Satanists that worship through activism, the mission of the Satanic Temple is to encourage benevolence and empathy among all people, reject tyrannical authority, advocate practical common sense and justice, and be directed by the human conscience to undertake noble pursuits guided by the individual will. Civic-minded, the Satanic Temple has been involved in a number of good works, including fighting for women's body autonomy, religious plurality in public forums, working on behalf of children in public school who have been subjected to proselytizing and corporal punishment, and much, much more. As an organized religion, we feel it is our function to actively provide outreach, to lead by example, and to participate in public affairs, wheresoever the issues might benefit from rational satanic insights. As Satanists, we should all be guided by our consciences, to undertake noble pursuits, guided by our individual wills. We believe that this is a hope for all mankind and the aspiration for all humanity. For more information, please visit our websites, thesatanictemple.com and thesatanictemplearizona.com.
My name is Scott Pryor, chair of Arizona's LD16 Democrats. One of the things I have noticed since I became active in politics in 2012 is that people in general have increased their value of political affiliation over the value of humanity and community. Interpersonal communication has become more defined by our online communications and less defined by our face-to-face interactions. This has drastically reduced our ability to empathize with one another and find common ground to create real conversation and real solutions. If you frequent Facebook or Twitter or some of the other social media websites, you will see that many people are referring to each other as liberals or conservatives or libtards or Republicans. And many times, what starts as a real logical conversation becomes useless as people move from logical discourse to online shouting matches and name-calling. This type of behavior really must change. As chair of the LD16 Democrats, our local party will begin moving in a new direction. Instead of focusing on political change, we will begin focusing on changing ourselves and our communities. We will attempt to work together with others to help create better communication through cooperation, such as food and clothing drives, friendly competitions such as bowling, riflery, softball games, and yes, even karaoke. Our goal is to try to take the political affiliation out of the primary focus of all of our communications and start treating people as individuals, neighbors, and friends. As a gesture of this new focus, I will begin working to provide free educational seminars to the public, which will give people the proper tools necessary to not only participate in the state governmental process, but also interact with the different committees and legislators that are at the Capitol to represent us. I look forward to the future
and hope that we can all begin to work together to create